You know, it's crazy to think that there are probably a good chunk of you listening to my voice right now that started playing Fortnite in Chapter 4 and beyond. Like, it boggles my mind as a Chapter 1 player that there are so many people that were still new to Fortnite 3 chapters after the initial launch. I've said this many times before on the channel, but your entry point to when you started playing Fortnite has a dramatic impact on how you perceive the game and many times what you find fun. There are a lot of you that said you actually enjoyed OG Fortnite, that it was pretty fun, but there was also a good majority of you that said that you didn't. That it was too bare bones, too basic from normal Fortnite, from what you had come to expect. A lot of this feedback I heard when Season OG came out, but even now as we're going through the first few seasons of OG, the sentiment remains the same for a lot of you, and I don't think I disagree. In my last video, we talked a lot about the things that Fortnite currently does not have from the old era that I think should be brought into the modern day. And although OG Fortnite brings a lot of those old elements back, the current era of OG that we're in does not fully encapsulate what I think is the peak version of OG Fortnite, the real core reason why people fell in love with the game. Even OG Fortnite, looking back at it, seems like a very truncated version of what OG Fortnite actually was. But if I'm making the case that this era of OG Fortnite is not that much fun, when, in my opinion, is the peak era of Fortnite, and more importantly, why the heck did we used to have fun with it back in the day? Let's get this out of the way for all the new people here. I started playing in Fortnite Chapter 1 Season 1, so I have played every season, I have seen every change. One of the things that's very important for people to understand is that when we're looking at OG Fortnite and how the culture of the game was when it was first released, you have to remember there was nothing to compare it to with the exception of other BR-based games. At the time, Fortnite was not competing with itself, but ironically, that's kind of what it's turned into now. The more you play Fortnite, the more difficult it becomes to not compare the current era to a previous version. I love playing Fortnite Chapter 1. As a matter of fact, it's probably one of my favorite eras of Fortnite ever. However, when I look back at it, a lot of the nostalgia and a lot of the fun had to do with the freshness of the experience at that time. Even if you had played a BR before, you had never played a BR like Fortnite. The things that this game was doing were insanely unique. And it's that uniqueness that allowed Fortnite to really dominate the BR wars in the long run. Fortnite is the most popular battle royale game of all time. Heck, it's one of the most popular video games in the world. What I am here to tell you, though, is that Fortnite was carried in the first 4 seasons by the novelty of the game. Not just the BR genre, but its take on the BR genre, the building mechanic, how fun and different it was. The map design, the art design, the cartoonish style, all of that, the feels that you got when you loaded into the lobby and you heard that OG track playing in the background. Everything about it just screamed that it was different. This is one of the problems that I have with bringing OG back, which is that you cannot recreate that feeling for old or really even new players. The game has been around for too long. And quite frankly, if you were playing at that time, we are all different people now. Now, after hearing me make a few of these points, you may be thinking that I'm trying to say that OG Fortnite is only good because of nostalgia. No. That's not true at all. The first 4 seasons of Fortnite Chapter 1 were fun because they were actually fun to play. However, if you go back and play the first 4 seasons of Fortnite with the perspective of a modern lens, it's definitely going to feel a little empty. Now, if you've been paying attention, I have been focusing on the first 4 seasons of Fortnite. Why is that? It's because when you look at them, they seem to share a lot of similarities between each other. If I were to look at the entirety of OG Fortnite, which is all of Chapter 1, and I was going to break it up into eras, I would say that the first 4 seasons of OG Fortnite are what I would consider the Discovery era. This is the time period where Epic Games and Donald Musk were really trying to figure out what the heck was going on with this battle royale genre and this new game they created. They did not expect it to take the world by storm like it did. Now, if you go on Fortnite.gg and you look at the map changes between Seasons 1 and Season 4, you're not going to see a crazy amount of difference. Yes, there were new POIs added like Tilted Towers and Haunted Hills, but generally speaking, the flow of the map pretty much stayed the same. I would also say that the overall game meta pretty much stayed the same too, with some exception in Season 4. That's when things started to get interesting, and also, this is the first season where we had a live event. I personally do not believe that OG Fortnite got really interesting until Season 5, at least from a gameplay standpoint. Now understand something, once again, if you're a player back in that day and age and you're looking at what this game is doing, how consistent updates are coming out and how they are updating the map fairly regularly, and we are getting new quirky weapons added to the loot pool. There's lots to appreciate because there's this big mystery of what the heck are they going to add next? The other big mystery element that was added at the time was the introduction of the storyline, the big comet event that we were having. There was a meteor in the sky that was coming to the Fortnite island, and we were all waiting to see what was going to happen when it hit. Season 4 is what gave us the aftermath of that and really the genesis of the Fortnite storyline. Once again, this is the discovery era where the seeds are being laid for what would eventually become the big staples of what this game was. Intriguing storyline, consistent updates, new quirky items added to the loot pool, massive POI changes. However, in comparison to later season map changes, these are going to seem somewhat trivial. My point here is that when you look at the map as well as the loot pool from this time period, there's not a crazy amount of diversity. Don't get me wrong, there is some, but it's not what we come to expect out of Fortnite now. When you guys see this video, we'll be a little over a week away from Fortnite Season 3 OG, and if I'm being transparent with you guys, I'm not crazy excited for it. Will I have fun? Yes, but what you're going to notice is there aren't going to be a lot of differences on the map or in the loot pool to really spice things up. I think the changes will be fun for a couple of days, maybe at most a few weeks, but after that, I think people are going to kind of get the feel of it all. And listen, I know there's some hardcore OG fans out there. I'm not trying to knock you or your experience of the game. I still think OG is a fun mode to have. However, when you compare this era of OG Fortnite to the second half that we're going to be getting later this year, this by far pales in comparison to the updates we're going to be getting in seasons 5 through 10. The most impactful map change is going to be Dusty Divot with the hop rocks, and there's also going to be other little craters spread out around the map with the hop rocks inside of them. Not to mention, we're also going to have shopping carts, bounce pads, jetpacks, stink grenades, dual pistols, the drum gun, and the purple and gold burst AR back in the loot pool. Now listen, all of these things sound great. However, there's one major issue I have when it comes to getting excited about some of these items, and that's we've already had a lot of exposure to them in other modes. A good chunk of the weapons and items that I just mentioned have been usable inside of Fortnite Remix as well as Fortnite Reload. When I think about playing OG Fortnite and what would get me the most excited about it, it would be re-experiencing something that I can't experience anywhere else by playing this version of the game. Outside of the map and maybe some of the trap items, I'm not really seeing a lot of difference. Those are both things that definitely add a unique element to this era of Fortnite, don't get me wrong, and yes, that is part of the fun and the novelty, but is it different enough from what's already been offered over the last 6 to 8 months, or even what's being offered in the game right now? Once again, when Season 2 dropped, no one really cared that Tilted Towers was back because I can already drop it tilted inside of Reload. Pleasant Park and Retail Row exist inside of Reload as well as Remix. Some of the weapons that I just listed off are things that are actively being recycled inside of Reload right now. And with all due respect, who is really getting excited about using the shopping cart again when we can drive a Ferrari inside of Fortnite? Okay, to be fair, the shopping cart actually is pretty cool. I do like it, but it's going to be so much slower than using an actual car or even launch pads inside of VR. Now listen, guys, I get it. This is what the mode is supposed to be for. It's supposed to be a more accurate representation of how Fortnite was at this time, and there is a certain charm to that. However, these elements are just not going to get me the most excited as compared to what is to come. Season 5 onward is when OG will most resemble what Fortnite is like now. You're going to get an entirely new biome in Season 5 with the desert. You're going to see more environmental changes around the map more consistently. Like, for example, when Kevin the Cube starts running around the Fortnite island and eventually creates a giant bounce castle out of Loot Lake. Season 6, the bounce castle is going to turn into a giant tornado. Some of that we've already experienced in Season OG, but it will be nice to revisit again, hopefully with the full effect of how it was at that time. Back in Chapter 6, you could actually bounce off of Kevin the Cube as well as shoot at him to shoot lightning bolts at opponents that were just flying around in the tornado. There were also these little cubes that were left around on the ground that could turn you into a ghost. It was truly a unique time in Fortnite's gameplay history. And look, in my opinion, that's not even the true peak era of OG Fortnite. I think Season 6 was the start of it, but next week, I want to really hone in on what it was like to play during that time period, through specifically Fortnite Chapter 1, Season 6 through 8, because in my mind, that was truly peak OG Fortnite. So if you're excited about that video, consider subscribing to the channel, but if you're still on the fence, why don't you check out the video that's up on screen right here? This one is another video I'm sure will tickle your OG Fortnite fancy. Until next time, I love you guys. Use code Clark in the item shop, and hey, if you have a difference in opinion on when you think peak OG Fortnite was, let me know down in the comment section below. I love y'all. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.